So often we have conversations in this world of sports about what goes on the field, on the court, on the pitch, or the ice, but there are people who do fantastic work in sports who aren't athletes. And some of those people, they do amazing work in the world of sports and entertainment. Today we're going to talk with one of those people, a woman who has a great deal of experience in the world of sports. She has served as the marketing executive for the New York Knicks and managing director of ticketing and digital for the United States Tennis Association. She currently is the CEO of Underdog venture team. Her name is Nicole Jeter West, and she joins me now. Nicole, pleasure to meet you. How you doing?
Great, Dexter. Wonderful to see you. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we can have this conversation, Nicole. I wanted to talk to you about your sports and entertainment agency, Underdog Venture. What separates you and your team from other sports and entertainment agencies?
Well, thank you for asking. Underdog Venture Team really is one. We try to think of ourselves less of an agency and more about brand builders. And we build brands in two different ways. First, we focus on making sure we can build brands through our services, marketing, strategy, partnerships, experiential. But we also have something unique and different. That is our venture studio. And we are not only investing in early stage startups, but we've made a commitment that 66% of the investments we make will be towards founders of color and women founders, and also making sure that in doing so, we are helping to advise and fundraise with those founders. And so it gives us a pipeline of innovation, and it allows us to really focus on what's new and upcoming for our partners. But also in doing that, it gives us the opportunity to make sure that we are investing in the Black and Brown communities and in women founders who are not necessarily receiving the same level of venture capital funds, as we all know. So we definitely find ourselves in a different position than other sports marketing agencies because of the venture studio side of the house and the innovation that comes from that, and from the other aspects of the services we provide. And we've built our team intentionally to make sure that we reflect the communities we serve. And so we are a diverse team and very proud of it.
Yeah, you should be proud of that. You talk about the work that you're doing with Black and Brown founders, also for women, which is very much needed in terms of that. And there's been more conversation about diversity and inclusion in sports over this past several years, as you know. How can sports play a role in creating a more inclusive society?
Well, I played sports, not anywhere near the collegiate level, but growing up through rec programs and then in high school playing high school sports. And I think we all know sports is about teaching us life lessons. You learn how to, work with your team. You learn what the rules are and how to play by the rules. But you also learn how to engage with others who are on your team and learn their strengths, learn their weaknesses, and then learn your own strengths and weaknesses. And so I think the art of sport and all of the things that we learn from sport, from leadership to teamwork, it really should be a reflection of how society goes about living and how we go about sort of we're living out our work lives, but living out our personal lives. And so I think sports takes on a lot of responsibilities in that way. And in life, right, we've gotten to the place where, you play sports and you get all of that wonderful learning from sport. But when we get into what the business of sport looks like and how that is being reflected, that's where we have a lot more work to do. We clearly have a really vast representation on the field of play. It is international. You are seeing women, professional athletes playing at the highest level. You have people of all abilities playing in the Paralympics. We have a great amount of diversity that shows itself, and there's a lot of inclusivity in that on the field of play. Where you're not seeing that as much is off the field. And that's the business of sport. That's the front office. That's the sidelines, the coaches, the trainers, the reporters. We are not seeing that same level of diversity reflected. And that's where we still have a lot of work to do.
You talk about a lot of the work that still needs to be done, Nicole, and also you mentioned an important word there, inclusivity. So I got to ask this, can companies and brands play a role in terms of inclusivity in sports? And in terms of both employees and consumers, what can companies do in order to be more inclusive when it comes to sports?
We have to do the work. We can talk about it. We can, get on panels and stages and sort of, have lots of conversation, but it's about doing the work and really making sure that you're supporting the groups that are doing the work. There are a vast number of groups who are out there really trying to make a difference in supporting and making sure that there is a reflection off the field. Everybody from, Athlete Ally to Scene to the Black Sports Symposium, the Latinx Sports Symposium. There are just a number of programs out there that are supporting everyone from Black and Brown to women to like WISE to, LGBTQIA with Athlete Ally. And so making sure that companies and brands are putting their dollars where their mouths are, and that they're actually showing up in a way that is going to help make an impact.
I think some of the biggest takeaways from there, Nicole, is saying that people have to do the work, right, to be more inclusive, to be more diverse, but you also have to have that want to, for lack of a better term, to actually do that in order to get it done. And I think that's a very good point you brought up in how you guys are doing it. Now, sports, it's always evolving. Business, also always evolving. But what about the fans? In your eyes, how is fan culture, because you've been around this for a while, how's fan culture evolved over the last decade?
Yeah, I've been around for over 2 decades now. I'm proud to say that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to date you or anything there. Just letting people know you got some good experience.
I aged myself, Dexter. I aged myself. But I think what's happened in the sports landscape has actually been really fascinating. Because one, as society, our culture has changed. We've seen, more cultures engage in sport, but also other sports come to the market, especially here in North America. You're seeing new sports that are emerging, and you're seeing fans respond to that. And so it's not just the established stick and ball sports that we all know, where there are people who are leaning in to innovate. And we love that, right? I think that's why we have Adventure Studios, because we believe in innovation. We know that's what everyone is out there looking for, but you actually have to get out there and do something. And so you have, programs like Athletes Unlimited. Athletes Unlimited is a league of professional women, and it is led by the athletes, and they are out there creating and changing the way sports are played. And then you're seeing other emerging sports like, everything from slam ball to pickleball to padel to cricket. There are sports that are now coming in, and it's because fans are asking for that and they're leaning into that. And they're open to not just having, a football team, a basketball team, a baseball team, and that be it. They want to expand beyond that, and they're interested in learning something new. And I think that it's a reflection of Gen Z, Gen Alpha. They're leaning into gaming, esports, all of those spaces, Formula E. There's so many different spaces, and it's all coming from the desire and the interest of the fan base. And also what's happening in culture. That's why you're seeing things like, electric sporting events, because it's something that's environmental and is sustainable, right? And so the way sports is responding to society and society is responding to sport.
Yeah, that is definitely so true. It goes hand in hand, vice versa, however you want to say it, that's how it goes. Last thing for me, Nicole, as sports evolves and grows, what cultural changes within sports do you believe that we're going to see over the next 5 years? You mentioned some of them just now, but how also do you see Underdog Venture being a part of that change of the culture that we'll see in sports over the next 5 years?
I think it's going to only grow from a reflection of, off the field. We want to see more coaches that reflect the athletes on the field, and that reflect the community at large, and that you're seeing that happen on the sidelines. You're seeing that happen in the front office, in ownership, and that it is something that's happening also with the pipeline. We have to do the work to make sure that we're creating these opportunities and providing the access so that people have the ability to grow in the industry. And I think what you see happening on the field, what our athletes are doing, how they have shown up and continue to show up around social injustice and making sure that their voices are heard, we need to make sure that that's happening on the business side as well. So more ownership, more equity across the board in a diverse landscape.
Well, Nicole, it sounds like you guys are making it happen. We talked a lot about change in this conversation. What needs to happen? Underdog Venture, you have the want to do it. You're talking about the changes that need to happen, and you're part of the solution, which we need more of that. So glad to have this conversation with you around sports, because I think diversity and inclusion, which you mentioned a lot about, is absolutely important in sports. That is Nicole Jeter West. She is the CEO of Underdog Venture. Check her out and the work she's doing. Nicole, thank you so much for your time and this conversation. We'll do it again.
Thank you, Dexter. It was wonderful. Appreciate you.